Hey everyone, end all be all here, and we are back with week four of GAC. It's been a pretty exciting season so far. We've faced some really good opponents, and all the 3 weeks we've gone. I've gone 2-1. So lost one match in each and every week, but as long as you go 2-1, you steadily keep climbing up because you get what 30, 40 points for winning, and same amount of points gets deducted for losing. So as long as you get 2-1 you incrementally always increase by about 30 to 40 points. And my estimation is by about 2 or 3 months of 2-1, 2 or 3 seasons of 2-1 will get you pretty close to the top, maybe the top 50 or so, because you're constantly increasing every single week. Of course, it'll get more and more difficult as you get closer to the top ranks, the top 200, 300 folks are going to be extremely competitive, and it's going to be very difficult to go 2-1 every single week. Some weeks you'll go 1-2, and even 0-3, depending on the opponents. Um, my personal feel is for my roster and my play style, I think I'll probably settle somewhere around the 4,000 skill rating level. I'm currently at 3961. And I think I'm already beginning to hit a wall and facing opponents who are pretty competent. I mean, anything over this, I probably won't be able to compete because my roster is limited by the resources that I spend. I don't. I'm not a big spender. I spend maybe a couple of $100 a year, and the characters and the roster that I can develop is limited by that. And I'm sure everyone who plays will have their own limitations as well. And sooner or later, you're going to hit a wall. My anticipation is by the end of the second season is when we will all hit that wall, and end up going more or less 6-6 or 7-5 or 5-7 every single season. With that said, let's dive into week four. Now, week four, this is going to be I'm going to be talking about the second match. The first match I did win. It was against an opponent, Omni. Pretty good guy. I think all three opponents that I'm facing this week are more than 1 million legacy lifetime banners and between 50 to 200 rank in Kyber. So, and pretty decent mods as well. This guy, I think, was 1.1 million legacy lifetime banners. Um, the match was, I mean, I couldn't clear his back zones. He had kept a pretty tough defense up front and hit a JMK at the back, which I'd had nothing to clear, and I wasn't able to clear his ships as well. But I had kept enough on my front zones to block my opponent. So you can see over here, he kept, I think, two GLs, Darth Revan gas in the front, and then one GL at the back. JMK, and then I couldn't clear his executor. I had really bad RNG with rebels. So two zones only I could clear, but the amount that my opponent had left for defense, they could barely make a dent. They knew that they had no mathematical way of beating me because they could clear either the bottom two zones or the top two zones, and in either way they would not be able to beat the score that I had. So after a couple of battles, my opponent Omni gave up, and I got the victory. So that was the first battle. Second battle, we are facing Johnny on the spot. Now, Johnny on the spot is from Alpha Bravo Squad. Alpha Bravo Squad. This is Ando's guild, and Johnny is actually a shard mate of Zareth. In fact, a lot of the testing videos that Zareth does, you'll find that it's against Johnny's teams, and for that reason, you'll find that Johnny's mods are on point. They're pretty good. Extremely speedy, really good stuff. He's got 1.1 million lifetime GP as well. Previously ranked Kyber 80, so really good player. Knows really good counters and is really efficient in his play style. Um, Roster wise, same as me. He's got all the GLs. I don't have my ultimate on Sith Eternal. I've just unlocked him before this week, but I don't have the ultimate on him yet. But otherwise, we are pretty much matched in terms of roster. Both of us don't have Starkiller, and in terms of mods as well, we are more or less ranked equally. In fact, let me show you the comparison on Omegabot, um, so that you can see how I scout my opponents before each match. All right, so let's see. Yeah, there we go. So what you see over here is the HTML version of Omegabot, which is there in quite a few servers now. I think over 500 servers have got this Omegabot feature. And what this feature allows you to do is it's a bot where you go in and scout GAC. You type in a command scout GAC, put in your enemy's ally code, and with that you will be able to get tons of details. So there's a summary tab over here which gives you details about when your opponent prefers to attack. So over here you can see all the different weeks for this 5v5 season as well as the last one when my opponent prefers to attack. So as you can see over here, the attack time varies by quite a lot. Sometimes they attack from 0 to 8 hours, and a lot of times they attack towards the end. This is obviously the time that they've been sleeping. So I'm guessing it's probably East Coast or Midwest time zone. So nothing much, but for some opponents, I can figure out very clearly that they prefer to attack at one particular time, and I can plan my strategy according to that. This table over here, this chart over here, talks about the mods. The tan color one is my mods. The black color ones are Johnny's mods. And you can see over here, we're more or less equally matched, but Johnny slightly beats me on 25 and 20 speed mods. Otherwise, we are more or less equally modded. There are other tabs over here, one for defense, where you'll get to see what the opponent likes to keep on defense usually. So tons of General Grievous, Darth Revan, Gas, not many GLs over here. I can see GL Ray is the most popular GL that he likes to keep on defense, and GL Vader, which did prove to be the case. I did see GL Ray and GL Vader in the front, as you'll see. And then the blue line over here, the attack order, that tells you how soon that attack against that particular defense has happened. So if you see a low number, for example, GG over here is 2.9, Darth Revan is 2.7, Gas is 2.6. That means that between the second and third turn of his opponents, they've attacked the GG, Darth Revan, or Gas team. So the lower the number is, the more sure you can be that that team is going to be out in the front. So I was pretty sure I'm going to see GG, Darth Revan, and Gas up in the front. And all these teams where the values are high, I would likely see them at the back. You can see over here, for ships, the value is the highest. That means that most of his opponents prefer to attack ship the last. So that's how you read this chart. And you can see he likes to keep executors and executor and chimera on defense. So it's a good way to get a quick snapshot of defense and offense. So this particular tab is for offense, and you can see what he likes to save for offense, and likes to save Luke, GL Sith Eternal, and GL Kenobi. These three are pretty much almost all the time saved for offense. Likes to save Veers, Troopers, and CLS as well. And then if I go down here, these are the teams that have been faced by Johnny on the spot in the past. The more important tab over here is the details tab, the very final tab, and you'll see over here the exact details of what order in which each of his defensive teams have been attacked, and that will give you an idea about what my opponent likes to keep on defense. You can see over here, mostly, the ones which are bolded are GLs. Almost in all the cases, I can see GL Ray and GL Vader, Lord Vader on defense. So I can definitely expect to see these two teams on defense, either in the front or the back, because that's something that my opponent is comfortable keeping on defense. I also like to see, I see that there's a lot of gas. Darth Revan also kept on defense. And the best thing about the HTML feature, which I think is a patron feature of Omnibot or Omegabot, is you can go and click on it, and it will give you the details of the mods and the speeds and the gear levels. So if for example, Darth Revan, I can take a look at it and see that his Darth Revan is typically at 333 speed with Basti at 326 speed. And I can see the relic levels as well as other stats over here. So this can be helpful to prioritize your attacks and just to give you an idea about what kind of team you're facing. It really cuts down on the scouting time. And if you go down below, you can see additional details of what composition of the teams. For example, GG, I can see that he likes to keep the GG B2 B1 Magna Newt team. There's no case in which he's kept BB8 at all over there, so I can plan accordingly. Darth Revan, I can see that in the later weeks he likes to keep Darth Revan with HK-47 and Marauders. It's a plain vanilla Darth Revan team. No Darth Talon in there, so I don't need to plan for that. So it gives you a good idea about the preference. And obviously, a lot of people have different play styles. Some people like to change up the defense all the time. Most people like to keep a consistent defense. So this way, you can get an idea about what kind of an opponent you're facing and plan accordingly. So that's a brief overview of the Omegabot. Feel free to check it out whenever you get a chance. All right. Now, yeah. So now let's go over to Johnny on the spot and talk a um, little bit about the defenses. So what I decided to do was, so this is at the beginning of the battle. I decided to place a relatively heavy defense. I kept one GL up front, Darth or Lord Vader, and then I kept Darth Revan, and then Qui-Gon Jinn, as well as Bam over here with not with Nest but with Boba and Dengar. I felt that Boba could form some sort of a threat. So one GL below, and then Darth Revan over there, and then at the back another GL SLKR, and I kept Dash Rendar with Nest over here, and L3 and Vandor for some extra nuisance factor. And then I kept the Mon Mothma team, and over here, if you notice, I haven't kept Kyle Katarn. Usually, I've been keeping the Kyle Katarn team, but this one is the more purer form, that the more TM trained version of Mon Mothma, even more TM trained than Kyle Katarn. The Kyle Katarn version allows you to get a jump start and control the situation a little better. But I feel that with the addition of Biston in there instead of Kyle Katarn, and Scout and Kara and Pow, all of these have got amazing turn meter manipulation tactics. And this can, especially if you stretch out your opponents in other areas and drawn out the troopers and Treya and all of that, this can make it a little tricky to really whittle down. Mon Mothma is not an easy team to whittle down towards the end. And then you have at the top, I've kept another GL Ray, and then a JTR squad. I kept the vanilla GG squad, and then the gas squad. So you'll notice I kept Qui-Gon Jinn down below, and I kept GG Newt at the top. Usually I keep these two teams on offense, but I noticed from scouting my opponent that he always keeps his Bad Batch team on defense. It's all a G12 team with a really fast Echo, I think 352 or something like that. But he always keeps them on defense. So I felt that this keeping both Qui-Gon Jinn as well as GG is going to make my opponent stretch his roster because all of them will require similar kinds of teams to take out. So that's one way that you can stretch your opponent's roster. If you identify certain teams that take up that are usually used to counter specific teams and they always keep that on defense, make sure that you place them on offense just to throw your opponent off. Make sure that you place them on your own defense. And then at the back, I kept my Executor and uh, Executrix fleet. I tried something different with Executor. I decided to go with the TIE bomber in there, just in case, just an extra tank in there to throw the turn order off of the malevolence counter, and then it's a little more difficult for the rebels to counter it as well. I just decided to test it out to see if this works or not. So let's see what my opponent does against it. Now, my opponent, Johnny on the spot, has kept no GLs at the top, but relatively easier defense on top, I would say. There's a plain vanilla GG Newt team, Padme Squad. There's BAM with Nest and Dengar, always problematic. And then there's JTR. So nothing much at the top, but down south, they've kept a few tricky squads. And here, I was expecting to see two GLs up front, Lord Vader and Rey, because that's in the order of attacks of my opponents. They usually come first in the attacks. So I was expecting to see those in the front, but they are not there in the front, which means they might be there at the back. He's kept a few tough teams over here in order to pull some good counters of mine, so that I stumble on the back zone. I was sure to find Lord Vader and Rey at the back. Um, so what I did was, so you've got the Mon Mothma team. This is the Kyle Katarn version, which is the turn meter train version without Biston. This can get out of control if you don't get the first mover advantage. We also have the Maul team, no Watt in there, thankfully, and a couple of G12 characters, but you do have this can get problematic. It's a Relic 6 Maul. We've got Bad Batch. So as I was mentioning, my opponent likes to keep Bad Batch on defense. And then you've got the EP team. Now, more and more in the last couple of weeks, I've been seeing this EP team being kept more and more on defense. This is another tricky team with Mara Jade in there and with a fast character like a Vader to go ahead and get the turn meter train started because he starts with a Force Crush. Unless you've got a very strong daze mechanic, this team can get out of hand very, very quickly and cost you banners as well. So you need to do something to take this team out quickly. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the attack phase. Um, so what I decided to do was I decided to go ahead with the Mon Mothma squad, and this is a counter that I've been using a few times in the last few matches. I used the EP Gideon, Mara Jade, Thrawn, and Tarkin counter. A lot of people prefer to take in Vader. In fact, most on the counter sheets, mostly you'll find Vader under EP taking out Mon Mothma squads. It allows them to get a jump on Kyle Katarn and control the situation. And EP with his and Vader with his merciless goes around and kills everyone. But I like to keep my Vader with the Lord Vader. So I find that as long as um, your Gideon is faster than the enemy's Kyle Katarn, and you have to divide the enemy's Kyle Katarn speed by zero point 0.7 to get to the his effective speed. As long as the Gideon is faster than that, this counter is extremely effective because you don't allow them to take a single turn at all. What you need to do is reduce the turn meter with Gideon, and then Thrawn, if he's fast enough, he'll go next, and then pass the turn meter on to Mara Jade, and then get the turn meter train started. Mara Jade used the second special first, and then that gives turn meter both to her as well as EP, and then you start doing your TM train. Use basics with EP when you can. Every time Mara uses her basic, EP assists as well. And once you've got shock applied everywhere, EP keeps getting turns all the time. So you don't even need to use your Vader in there. The fifth character can be any Empire character. You can use TFP. You can use I use Tarkin over here because I like Tarkin's turn meter reduction as well. You can use a pre-taunter. If this team is being kept on defense, a lot of people like to go with Shore as a pre-taunter just so that troopers don't have an easy time rolling over it. So very easy 65 banners as long as you ensure that your Moff Gideon is faster than the enemy Kyle Katarn. All right, so that team has been taken care of for more or less max banners. Now we go up against, um, let's see, I believe this is the Maul team. Yes. So the Maul team, this one is a relatively weaker Maul team with a couple of G12 characters. But here as well, what you need to do is you need to um, troopers can do a decent enough job, but it's sort of like whack-a-mole because the taunt keeps under Maul's leadership, the taunt keeps moving about. So you need to be able to uh, focus down on a few characters and take them out early enough so that um, you maintain your turn meter train. So troopers are able to do a decent enough job of that. That was a relic armorer, and even armorer was taken out pretty easily. So even if there were higher relics on this team, I think troopers should have no problem going through it. It will be problematic if Watt is in there because their whole team is going to go first, and Django also might prove to be somewhat problematic because it's got more damage in there. But at least in this version, as long as you don't allow them to take a turn, you can do a pretty decent job. So 64 banners over there as well. I needed to make sure that I keep the pressure high by getting good banners so that in case it comes down to efficiency, I can always win with that. Now this one I felt was an overkill. Probably if I saw the EP team in another zone like the back zone or the top zone, I might have used something else. But I needed a one shot. I didn't know what was there at the back and if my opponent was going all efficiency. So I needed the one shot, which is why I decided to go with the CLS. And and get the job done once and for all. So you can see over here this team is gaining tons of turn meter, but the amount of damage that the CLS squad has is simply tremendous, and it's a little costly in terms of banners, but did the sheer damage that this team has was able to get through them pretty easily. So lost about 6 banners, which is why I think this team is really good on defense. I think I'm going to put it going forward with Shore over there. I think it's a pretty good option. Now, the Bad Batch. Initially, I was thinking of mirroring the Bad Batch, but my enemy's Echo was 1 speed faster than my Echo, so I couldn't mirror it. Uh, I couldn't. Bad Batch against Bad Batch. A lot of people like to use troopers as well, but I'd already used my troopers. A lot of people like CLS. CLS also I had used, so I needed to use something else which wouldn't allow them to really take a turn because just like Mon Mothma squads, if the Bad Batch team is allowed to roll, then you're in for a bad time because they've got days and healing immunity and tons of ways to control the team like stuns and all that. So I got in my ZAM Omicron to try to control the situation over here. So the whole team moves fast, really fast. And over here you notice I did the basic with Bosk first, did the mass assist. The basic with Bosk is to ensure that there's not too much TM gain happens and that you get your contract before by the time Mando gets a chance to go. So you can see over here Mando has not yet taken his first turn and I'm already at 90%, and with this mass assist I'm able to get the contract and take the most important character out. So now Mando gets to go. I take out Echo because he's the main problem dealer over here. And then I focus down on the others to ensure that I stun them. My aura, by the way, is modded for tons of potency, just to ensure that I'm able to land the stuns when it's needed. All right, so these characters are all stunned because they didn't have a chance to put their tenacity up, and this team has so much of speed and so much of turn meter generation that you can control the situation pretty well. And you can see over here, I'm assisting with Zam when I can, so that Zam on a basic, if she pops a thermal, then she gets 20% turn meter for each bounty hunter ally who's there on the team. And since there are 5 bounty hunters on the team, she gets 100% turn meter every time she pops a thermal on a basic. That's why I always use Zam to assist or Aura to assist. If I need to stun a character, I call Aura to assist. Otherwise, if there's a thermal to be popped, I call Zam to assist. And this actually proves to be pretty effective in controlling the situation. So Echo tries to do a few, not Echo, but Tech tries to do a few things, but is not really very effective over here. Um, so I'm able to get almost full banners over here. That's another good thing about Aura, is just like troopers on the enemy's death, they gain Aura's team gains turn meter as well as protection. So you have a really high chance of ending with full 65 banners like here, and you don't allow the enemy to take a single turn. In this case, Tech did take a couple of turns because he was stealthed and I couldn't really reach him, but that's fine. So now let's see what we have at the back. Now this was a surprise for me. I was expecting Vader and Rey, but my opponent has almost never kept Sith Eternal on defense. So this was a little problematic because I had 2 GLs already mapped out for Vader and Rey, my JML and my Jedi Master Kenobi. Those two were already reserved for Vader and Rey, but I had no GL for Sith Eternal. I had my own Sith Eternal, but without an ultimate, and that's going to get massacred by this team. So I thought I was out of options, but I had kept my Maul team in the as a backup for the back to be able to take out the enemy Darth Revan team, because that's my favorite counter to Darth Revan these days is Maul. So I decided to take in Maul against Sith Eternal. This is a very popular counter which just came out a couple of months ago when Maul initially came out, and it's been used. It's been pretty effective to take out tons of really tough teams, not just Darth Revan, which is the most popular use of this team, but also GLs like Jedi Master Luke and Sith Eternal Emperor. The Maul team actually does a pretty decent job of that. Now, why does this team work? Let's talk a little bit about the mechanics. Now, the core of this team is you need Maul in there as leader. You need Watt in there because Watt uses a special because he gets a bonus turn right at the beginning, and Maul gets to go immediately because of Frenzy. And the moment Maul uses any ability, either if it's basic or his special, then Candrass gets to assist. And once Candrass assists, he does two or three assists from his basic and applies tons of dots and gains tons of turn meter, and he gets to go almost immediately. So his effective speed, Candras's effective speed, probably is 500 or something like that. I have him modded for about 280, 290 speed just for this reason, so that he can outspeed even enemy GLs, and he gets to go and use his special even before the enemy GL has got to move. Here, the Sith Eternal speed is effectively about 500, and you'll see that my whole team gets to take so many turns before the enemy even gets to go. This is the reason this team works against even Darth Revan teams, whether it's Darth Revan lead by himself, whether it's Darth Revan with Talon adding the extra 20 speed, or if it's Darth Maul lead with Darth Revan, all the extra 20% turn meter. It doesn't matter. Candrass is going to ensure that your Maul outspeeds all of them. So now let's take a look at how my Maul, is going to outspeed the almost 500 speed Sith Eternal Emperor. Now, the ideally, the way that you should play this counter is you should go directly after Sith Eternal Emperor and take him down as soon as possible with all of Maul's abilities. So you should be targeting Sith Eternal with Maul, and Sith Eternal will be the target of all the assists that Maul gets, and you can gun him down really quickly. If there's a pre-taunter like Sith Empire Trooper like this in here, you need to do what you can to get rid of the Sith Empire Trooper. And luckily, this was a G12 Sith Empire Trooper, and I have Django in there to add that extra boost of damage. So I was able to take out Sith Empire Trooper. And then I used the special with Canderous to give Maul the turn again. And you'll notice over here, Sith Eternal Emperor still has only a third of his turn meter bar filled up. You'll notice that Sidious has got more of his turn meter bar filled up because he gets 50% turn meter anytime an enemy dies, or an ally dies. So that's the reason he's got higher turn meter. But Sith Eternal Emperor with effective 500 speed has only got about a third of his turn meter filled up, and Maul is ready to go again. So let's see what happens. You focus all your assists on Sith Eternal Emperor, and especially if you've got Django in the team and a decently relict Candrass. I think mine is R3, but that's more than enough. You should be able to take out Sith Eternal Emperor within 5 stacks of Maul's turns. And once Sith Eternal Emperor is taken out, it's a very easy job to get the rest of the team down. So here you see a couple of people died, so Sidious got a turn again, and I was able to nuke the other character. And then with the rest of my squad, it's just a question of cleaning up the other Sith over here, and it's a pretty easy enough job. Even against Darth Revan squads, I usually end with 64, 65 banners. In this case, Watt can never recover protection. So here also 64 banners against Sith Eternal without using a GL is an extremely good outcome. So pretty happy with that. I've used that counter a couple of times, but probably not in GAC. So it is good to use that in GAC as well and ensure that it works. That's why Maul has become such a premium team on offense these days. Another premium team on offense is Bad Batch, used to counter tons of teams, Separatists, First Order, and now lately the Qui-Gon Jinn team. This one is a very old counter. There's really nothing much to say about this. You just have to, make sure that turn meter is the team is stunned and controlled at all times. If the only problematic situation over here is if IG 100 does not get stunned, then you need to target him and reduce his turn meter and not allow him to take a turn. Because if IG 100 takes a turn, then he's going to cleanse all the days and healing immunity. And then anytime your team hits any of the enemies, then B2 is going to go and apply healing buff immunity, and it's going to end up taking tons of turn and giving tons of turns to the Grievous team as well. So that's the only thing you have to be careful about. If IG 100 is not stunned, you have to make sure that you expose him and reduce his turn meter to prevent him from taking any turns, so that the Grievous team doesn't get a chance to go. So as it stands over here, it's a pretty easy 65 banners with the full 5 Bad Batch team in here. So we're doing okay in terms of banners and efficiency so far, mostly 64s and 65s, with the exception of that one EP team where we got 59 banners. Now, the Padme squad, this one is it's a very weak Padme squad, and I would suggest not putting a weak Padme squad like this on defense because it can be taken out pretty cheaply, and the situation can be controlled very easily. Padme is really best on defense if you pair her with Jedi Knight Anakin and GK, but these days both GK and Jedi Knight Anakin have got better places to be in, and Snips as well. Or they either go into a Jedi Knight, a Jedi General Kenobi team, or not General Kenobi, Jedi Master Kenobi team, or Anakin ends up going in a Qui-Gon Jinn team. So Padme really doesn't have a place right now, and I rarely even use her on offense these days as her own lead. I end up just putting her with Jedi Master Kenobi. She makes a really good fifth with Jedi Master Kenobi. Just adds a little extra durability, an extra cleanse, especially if you're taking Jedi Master Kenobi against Lord Vader. And then, just a little bit extra bonus protection on the assist, 10% instead of the 40% from a lead, but it's good enough. So I think my place for Padme at least is going to be with the Jedi Master Kenobi team going forward. So you can see over here, I wasn't really paying much attention to banners since there's really no way to recover protection banners in this team. But I ended up with, I believe, 62 or something like that. I think a couple of my character, two or three of my 63, two characters were without protection, missing a little protection. But yeah, so pretty easy to take out a B Padme team like that. All right, now next I decided to take care of the two GLs down south, the other two GLs who were left, and I decided to use my own GL counters against those. I usually like to take in Jedi Knight Revan against Lord Vader just as an extra source of cleanse and extra source to pass turn meter. But over here, I needed Jedi Knight Revan as his own lead for another team, so I decided to take an old Ben in there. Now, all the people in this team have a really important role. Jedi Knight Luke is the damage dealer, and he can control the situation by stuns. You've got Shakti who can do cleanse. You've got Hermit Yoda who can do targeted cleanse as well, and both Shakti and Hermit Yoda can also heal, which is extremely important for Jedi Master Luke, because he's the one who's tanking all of Vader's hits. And then over here, Old Ben has got a very important role as well, because every time that our team gets hit, Old Ben gets turn meter, and he can then use the Jedi Master Luke's leadership ability to get other stuff done. He also applies ability block, which is really useful in this team. So a couple of GLs who are really susceptible to ability blocks are both Lord Vader as well as SLKR. And Old Ben, since he applies that ability block, he does a really good job against those teams. Another advantage of Old Ben over here is that in case Old Ben manages, in case your Jedi Master Luke is in danger of dying, I would taunt with Old Ben then, and he directs some of the heat off from the Jedi Master Luke, and then he manages to one if he dies, then he manages to give a little extra TM as well as health and protection boost to the rest of the team, and that might actually help you survive a little more. But as it happens over here, the battle is very much under control. I'm I've already reached my ultimate over here with the Jedi Master Luke, and once the his special abilities are on 2 turn cooldowns, it's it's very easy to control Vader. I mean, you can't control him getting into ultimate, but other stuff like reducing his cooldowns and applying ability block can be done pretty frequently with Lord Vader. So you can see over here I've almost lost Shakti. That's why I decided to I needed to do something to heal up Shakti over here. Otherwise, I'll end up losing her. So I basically use Hermit Yoda's targeted cleanse to to basically get Shakti out of the red. And now I decide to heal up old Ben because he was close to death as well. I'm trying to recover as many banners as I can. So now the battle is in control. I've got 2 minutes left, and I'm just alternating between Jedi Master Luke's two abilities, and I'm just waiting for Hermit Yoda's big heal to come so that I can just get a little bit more of banners recovered over here. So I'm calling Hermit Yoda when I can because the battle is very much under control. That's what I love about Jedi Master Luke. There's no fear of timing out against Lord Vader. Against SLKR or even with JMK, you're always you're always watching the clock, trying to make sure that you're able to get enough damage done to take out Lord Vader in time. Most of these go down to the wire and sometimes time out itself. With Jedi Master Luke, it's extremely easy to control him and add enough damage to take him out. So that's why I love that Jedi Master Luke counter against Lord Vader, especially if he's R8, R9. Uh, so then I decided to take Jedi Master Kenobi with against Rey. This is a pretty standard counter as well. You typically end up losing your taunt, which is, in this case, I took in Mace over here because my Kenobi was on defense with Jedi with the Qui-Gon Jinn. He's going to absorb a couple of whirlwinds and then he would have done his job. But I'm trying to take out Barriss over here because she's the one who's going to end up healing the team. Um, and I'm spreading the damage out because I don't want too many people to fall under yellow health. But over here, I decide to go after Basti again and take her out, Barriss again, and take her out before she has a chance to, cause any more mischief. You can see over here the additional value of Padme. I managed to, heal Mace when he was almost dead. And now when Rey goes into ultimate, I go into ultimate and heal everyone up as well. And now the battle is much more in situation because Mace had almost died. But now I'm more or less in control right now. So I'm going to absorb an ultimate now. Rey is going to come out of her ultimate. Everyone absorbed the ultimate pretty fine, so I was that was perfectly fine. I should have probably gone directly after Rey over here. So she was able to take out Mace, but I need to make sure that I go after Rey as soon as possible and try to take her out. Ideally, you want to trigger Rey's damage immunity before she goes out into a first ultimate. So that was one mistake I think that I made because after she comes out of her ultimate, then you should directly go after her and take her out immediately before she goes into a second ultimate. So that is one mistake I think that I did because that allows her to, do these whirlwinds like these. And if she had targeted Ahsoka, for example, Commander Ahsoka, then I would have been in trouble because my source of damage would have gone and it would have been difficult for me to clean that up. So I got a little lucky over there that she went after Snips and Snips survived. But I should probably play it a little. I would probably play it a little differently next time. I would make sure that I would target Rey initially, make sure that she goes into damage immunity before her first ultimate, and then focus down on her during the second ultimate, so that she gets taken out. So anyway, that team was taken out for decent enough banners. Now we just have a couple of other teams to clean up, and then we should be good. So this is the reason I was saving Jedi Knight Revan against the BAM team. BAM, any combination of BAM, whether with Nest, Dengar, Boba, L3, all of them, it's pretty easy to counter them using Jedi Knight Revan, especially since most people these days have a R8 Grandmaster Yoda. The damage from that team is pretty awesome. So here I'm just waiting, trying to do enough damage and take out IG-11. Unfortunately, he has that buff that Quill gives him, so wasn't able to take him down completely. But now that the buff is gone, I'm trying to focus down on him and take him out. So you can see over here, my Ayla almost got taken out by Nest, but I'm trying to get rid of Quill first so that a lot of the stat sharing bonuses that he has goes away. and then I can focus down and take out the other characters. I did a little heal over there because I wanted Ayla to be back to full health, and I got 63, so not bad. I'm getting about 63 to 64s over here. And then finally, the last battle is Ray. And here I had my own Sith Eternal that I almost ended up not using. I could have probably taken out the Ray team with the Night Sisters or with Geos because it was a relatively weak Ray team. It didn't have the heroes in there. So I could have used any one of those, but since I had my Sith Eternal, I just decided to throw him in there and just to overkill it. Um, It's so there's another interesting team that I've seen on Discord over the last couple of days. It's basically Chirpa lead with the Geonosians. It's very interesting because Chirpa lead gives I believe 20% or 10% turn meter every time that allies use basic, and I think it's Ewok allies and it's half for non-Ewok allies. And because of the fact that the Geonosians use their basics so many times for each and every turn, all of them end up getting tons of turn meter for during every single turn, and they have their own internal turn meter gain mechanics as well. So I actually saw a screenshot of a Chirpa lead with the Geonosians taking down a Ray team. They obviously prevented Ray from going into damage immunity because that turn meter train was so accurate and fast. They prevented Ray from going into damage immunity, and then Spy landed a big hit on Ray and managed to take her out. That was pretty impressive. So I'm going to try that out. Maybe not against Ray, but against some other teams in the future. I think that team definitely holds promise because the theory is sound. Chirpa lead 10% turn meter on basic, and these guys use their basics so many times that as long as you target a team which doesn't counter or doesn't gain turn meter, uh, I think this is again one of those TM trained teams like Mon Mothma or Troopers that can finish your opponent before they get a chance to even move, and thus ensuring max banners. So that I think is going to be an interesting team to try out next time. I should have probably tried it out this time as well. I probably didn't need EP in there. I could have probably just thrown in Chirpa and gone with Geonosians and seen what those guys do. But I wanted to make sure that I got maximum banners because I didn't know, my opponent at this time was one-shotting my front zone, so I didn't know, how efficient he's going to be and how efficiently he's going to clear me, and I needed to make sure that I have the maximum banners on the board as possible. Um, yeah, as you can notice over here, mine is a non-ultimate Sith Eternal, which is why it's taking so much time. Otherwise, I would have probably just soloed with Sith Eternal over here. All right, almost done, and there we go. A little bit of protection missing on Sunfac, but otherwise pretty good banners. All right, now let's go over to the ship zone and see what we have in store for us over there. So he's kept his Executor and he's kept his Tarkin, his Chimera ship. But you notice over here for the Executor, he's not kept the Razor Crest in the front. He's kept the IG 100, not IG 100, IG 88 ship in the front, which is an interesting choice. This combination is slightly tougher for the Malevolence to take out because Razor Crest, not Razor Crest, but the Xanadu Blood has a higher chance of coming in as a reinforcement and applying retribution on everyone, and that will make the Houndstooth apply basic every time someone attacks, and then apply target lock essentially, and that gets the Executor to the ultimate really really fast. But this particular version is easier for the rebels to take out. I've seen a lot of people take their relic rebels against this particular squad. I decided to try my own rebel team against this to see if it would work, and my rebels are pretty weak. My Biston, SRP, all G12. None of them are relic up. My my let's see who else. My Admiral Akbar also is G12, not very fast at all. The only relic characters that you see over here are going to be Biggs and Han and Chewie, the Millennium Falcon. But as you can see over here, as long as you target the right people, and get a little bit of RNG, Rebels should be able to get a decent job done against the IG-88 version. So here I do the flip over here with the Millennium Falcon and always target Bosk first because you want to take out IG-88 at the beginning. So don't target IG-88, otherwise Bosk is going to get turn meter and he's going to go first and apply taunt. You need the taunt to not be there when your Biston gets to go. So here you can see my Biston wasn't fast enough. If I had a Relic Biston, he would have probably gone before the enemy executor, and that would have been the ideal scenario because then I would have taken out IG-88 even before the executor went. But my Biston managed to survive. And then once you have the target lock on, then you can focus down with Biggs and take him out before Houndstooth gets a chance to taunt. That's the ideal scenario. Once you've taken him out uh, before the taunt is on, then you're in a much safer position because there's one less source of target lock that you have to worry about. So now I'm just trying to, there's no breach because, it got cleansed with 3 debuffs. So now I'm just trying to, keep my guy alive. So you can see over here, the retribution on Houndstooth would have been problematic for Malevolence, but the Rebel fleet simply dispels the retribution, and I don't have to really worry about it anymore. I decide to get in my Cassian to take out Cad Bane's ship. In case I need to clean it up, I need to make sure I have as many ships out as possible. And then, since there's no taunt, I decide to go after the Razor Crest. Um, we are in a decent position right now. Do the AoE to take out to get the first savior on the Razor Crest, and then I'm trying to keep my bigs alive. Um, there's nothing to heal from Cassian's ability, but I think I'm going to apply the tenacity down and dispel the buffs over there, and then with a mass assist, take care of the Razor Crest. And now only the Houndstooth is left. And once only the Houndstooth is left, it's you're in a much better position because the contract is going to take more time to get in. And with the Hans Millennium Falcon using the basic all the time, you can take care of the boss ship pretty easily. Boba ship is out again with the taunt over there, so we need to make sure that we get rid of that taunt. So I decide to get in, I think the Rebel Y-Wing. Yep, the Rebel Y-Wing is the most important ship over here. Dispel all of that nonsense and take care of Boba's ship right away. And now it's just a question of getting through to the Houndstooth. So victory, 71 banners, which is the most banners I've got against an executor. So my advice would be not to keep this particular version, especially if you know that your opponent is going to keep rebels on offense, not to keep the IG-88 version on defense, because if they have done their homework and they know that counter, then even mediocre rebels will be able to take that team out. So my own experiment with as you'll see, my own experiment with keeping TIE Bomber with Malevolence with the Executor did not work as well. So sometimes these things work. They can take an opponent off guard. Sometimes they don't. So you just have to test these things out. So I've kept my negotiator on offense, so it's a relatively easier job taking out um, the enemy Tarkin fleet or the Chimera fleet with this. Just need to make sure I get them down before their ultimate goes off, otherwise I end up losing banners. Yeah, I've been meaning to try out the first order counter to Empire as well. I think I need to practice that counter a little more in case I decide to keep the negotiator on defense. I think it's a good option to have. Tons of defense because of all the target locks which are applied. So TIE Bomber had tons of defense over there, and the presence of the Emperor's shuttle also gives bonus protection anytime he takes damage. So lots of good synergy in this team, especially if you've got target lock applied everywhere. Right, decide to get rid of the Palp shuttle and then get rid of Gar, and finally one last ship to take care of. Recover a little bit of banners on one character and then take out the final ship before the Thrawn gets a chance to take an ultimate. So 70. So got about 141 banners in the ship zone, which is, I think, one of the highest that I've got. And at the end of the day, my final score was 1721, which was enough to get me the victory. Because you can see over here, my opponent, even though he did one shot the front zone over here, he didn't. I think he might have expended one or two GLs over there because he did struggle a little bit at the back. He wasn't able to clear me. One shot the SLKR, but the Mon Mothma team surprisingly held. Once it was preloaded and my opponent didn't have anything else to take against it, that's not a team that is easy to whittle down. So that I was happy to see that. Couple of battles against my Rafe JTR Finn team. Couple of battles against the Grievous team as well. That's a disadvantage of putting Hunter on defense, I guess. And then there's really no holes over there on the Executor or the other fleet. So my opponent wasn't able to clear me. Johnny on the spot. 1379 was the final score. 1721. I think this is one of the more efficient scores that I've had against a slightly tricky defense because there were three GLs as well as a couple of tricky teams. But I was happy with this performance. I'm at 2-0 for this particular week. I'll be okay losing even the final match because it's again against a really good opponent. I'm okay going 2-1 every single week because that means you're constantly rising in the ranks throughout. So really good match. Really great, great job, Johnny, on the spot with the defense. I really thoroughly enjoyed playing with it. Hope to run into you sometime in the future as well. And then, I will definitely record my final match as well because that's going to be a really good one as well, and hopefully provide commentary for that. So watch out for that one. Until next video, happy gaming, and I will catch you guys later. Take care.